Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, and before we get started, I just want to mention that today's material is actually drawn directly from a SpeakDuo lesson.
Oh, right, yeah. Those are great.
They really are. And if you're looking to practice, you can go to SpeakDuo.com to meet new people from around the world practicing English on video calls to become more confident with their speaking abilities.
Exactly. And, because we are specifically tailoring this for advanced English learners, we're just going to skip any preamble today. No fluff.
Right.
Our mission is just to dive straight into these common but highly nuanced professional phrases and really unpack the real-world imagery behind them.
Yeah, let's jump right into the first phrase. So think about that feeling of hitting a wall at work. Like, you're doing something, maybe troubleshooting a computer that keeps crashing for hours, and you are just at your wit's end.
That is a perfect example, yeah. At your wit's end.
But, how is this different from just being really angry or stressed? Like, why not just say, I'm fed up?
Well, it's a really important nuance. Being fed up is... it's just an emotional limit, right? You're annoyed, your patience is gone.
Right, yeah. Like you had enough.
Exactly. But being at your wit's end means you have literally exhausted your mental resources. Like your technical options are gone. You've hit a complete dead end.
Oh, I see. Because your wits are like your brain power.
Yes, exactly. It's function versus emotion. You haven't just lost your temper. You've emptied your toolbox.
That makes total sense. So, for example, if you were doing like an IELTS Part 2 speaking test and they ask you to describe a challenging time at work, you could say, I was at my wit's end because the server kept crashing and no diagnostic tool was working.
Perfect, because it shows you actually tried everything first.
Right, yeah. But okay, so what do you do when you are at your wit's end, like when you have no options left?
Well, usually you have to use your network, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next phrase, which is to pull strings.
Ah, pulling strings, like when you need connections to get something done.
Exactly. Like getting an introduction to a mentor or, arranging a meeting with a hiring manager when there are no open slots.
But wait, how is pulling strings different from just, I don't know, asking someone for a favor?
They are related, but contrast pulling strings with just asking for a favor. A favor is upfront, it's direct.
Right.
But pulling strings implies this kind of hidden hierarchy. Think about the physical metaphor. What pulls strings?
A puppeteer.
Exactly. A puppeteer is behind the scenes or above the stage, controlling the outcome without being seen.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So when you ask someone to pull strings, you're asking them to use their invisible influence to bypass the normal rules.
That is such a good way to picture it. So it's not just, hey, can you help me out? It's, can you use your secret leverage?
Exactly. You might be having a quiet conversation with your boss and say, I know the internship program is officially full, but could you pull some strings with the HR director?
Right, because the boss has that behind-the-scenes power to make it happen.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's say someone pulls strings for you, you get the job, and now you're in the conference room. You need to actually participate.
Right. You're in the room where it happens.
Exactly. And people always say you should chime in when you have a clear suggestion to move a project forward.
Yes. Chiming in is a great phrase for joining a conversation with a comment or an opinion.
But wait, isn't that just like a polite corporate way of saying interrupting?
It sounds like it, but it's actually
Right.
completely different. Contrast chiming in with interrupting.
Okay.
Interrupting is abrupt, right? It halts the flow of the conversation.
Yeah, it's kind of rude.
Right.
Yeah.
But chiming in comes from musical chimes, like a tuned bell. It's musical. It adds harmony or value to an ongoing discussion without breaking the rhythm.
Oh, I really like that. It's like adding an instrument to the song instead of stopping the music.
Exactly. So to a colleague during a meeting, you wouldn't just cut them off. You'd wait for a breath and say, I'd like to chime in here with a quick idea about the Q3 marketing strategy.
That sounds so much more collaborative.
It really does. It shows you're building on what's already there.
But what happens when someone chimes in with a really bad idea? Or like, what if they're a brand new team member and they just mess up?
Well, that's when we use our next phrase, cut someone slack.
Right. Cutting someone some slack, being lenient or forgiving, especially if they're new or learning the ropes, or maybe dealing with a personal issue.
Yeah, exactly. But again, there's a really important nuance here. You have to contrast cutting slack with giving someone a free pass.
Oh, cause a free pass means they can just do whatever they want.
Exactly. Giving a free pass means ignoring bad behavior permanently. But cutting slack is a very physical metaphor. Think of a heavy rope holding a boat to a dock.
Okay, got it.
If the rope is pulled super tight and a wave hits the boat, what
The
happens?
rope snaps.
Right. So by cutting some slack, you are temporarily lowering the tension on that rope. You're giving the person room to move because of their specific circumstances without letting them completely float away.
That makes a lot of sense. So you aren't ignoring the standard, you're just lowering the tension for a second.
Exactly. A manager discussing a new hire might say, he missed the deadline, but let's cut him some slack.
Yeah.
He's only been using this software for a week.
Yeah, because the expectation is that eventually the slack will tighten back up once he learns.
Exactly. It's temporary grace.
I love that. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about showing grace, but what about taking on major responsibilities for the team? Let's talk about stepping up to the plate and footing the bill.
Footing the bill. Paying for something, usually covering the total group cost, like when all your friends conveniently forget their wallets.
Yeah, right. But why foot the bill? Why not just say, hey, I'll pay? Like, where does the foot come in?
Well, you had to contrast footing the bill with simply treating someone.
Okay.
Treating is like a voluntary gift. But footing the bill often implies taking responsibility for a really hefty or collective expense.
Right, like a big corporate dinner or something.
Yeah. And historically, when you get a long itemized invoice, where is the painful total located?
Oh, at the very bottom.
Right. The bottom of the document is called the foot.
No way, really?
Yeah. So footing the bill means looking right at the bottom, the foot, and taking responsibility for that big total.
That is fascinating. So in a corporate setting, you might say, since the clients are flying in from overseas, the company will obviously foot the bill for their hotel stay.
Exactly. It's a heavy expected expense.
Okay, but sometimes the cost you cover for your team isn't financial, right? Sometimes it's reputational.
Oh, absolutely. And that leads perfectly to our next phrase, which is to go to bat for someone.
Right. Actively supporting or defending someone. Like when their work is being questioned or they're being treated unfairly.
Yeah, but contrast going to bat with simply agreeing with someone.
Okay, because agreeing is kind of passive, right?
Exactly. You can agree silently. But going to bat is an active sports metaphor.
Yeah.
You are stepping out of the dugout, walking up to the plate, and putting your own professional credibility on the line to take a swing for them.
Oh, I see. You are facing the incoming attacks on their behalf.
Exactly.
You?
You're taking the risk. So you might say to a colleague, don't worry about the review committee. I will go to bat for your methodology if they try to challenge it.
Wow, that is such a strong show of support. You're saying, I'll take the hits for you.
Exactly. Now, we've talked about all these intense moments, pulling strings, going to bat, but we have to acknowledge that most days at work are just not that dramatic.
Right, thankfully, most days are just the daily grind. Which brings us to the phrase run-of-the-mill.
Yes, run-of-the-mill, meaning ordinary, average, nothing complicated like just checking your morning emails.
But I mean, why not just say it's standard? What's the difference?
Well, contrast standard with run-of-the-mill. Standard can actually mean a high-quality baseline, like industry standard.
Right, that sounds good.
But run-of-the-mill evokes the output of an old factory mill, like a textile mill.
Oh, like mass production.
Exactly. It's mass-produced, it's indistinguishable, and entirely unspecial.
Okay, so if your boss is stressed about a request, you could say, don't worry, the client's request is completely run-of-the-mill. We can handle it by noon.
Perfect. It means there are no surprises.
Yeah.
It's boring in the best way.
I love that. All right, we have a few more phrases from the source material, and I want to do a sort of rapid-fire integration here for an IELTS Part 2 response.
Okay, let's do it.
The phrases are err on caution, back someone up, and second guess. Can you just give us the quick definition?
Sure. To err on caution means taking extra precautions, like packing extra supplies just in case.
Right.
To back someone up means confirming what someone said to support them, physically standing behind them. And to second guess means doubting a decision after you've already made it.
Perfect. So if you're in an IELTS speaking test, you might weave them together like this. My colleague presented a risky plan, and while I usually err on caution, I decided to back him up in front of the board. Afterwards, I really started to second-guess my choice, hoping it wouldn't fail.
That is an excellent, seamless example. It connects the action, the support, and the lingering doubt perfectly.
Awesome. Well, I think it is time for the superbly said interactive quiz to test your memory on all these idioms.
Oh, this should be fun.
So, listener, feel free to pause the audio here if you need to think about the answer after I read the options. I'll read the question and 3 options, and then we'll reveal the answer. Ready?
Go for it.
Okay, question 1. After dealing with the persistent software glitch for 3 agonizing weeks, the developer was at his wits' end, meaning he was
Extremely frustrated and completely unsure about what specific technical actions to take next.
surprisingly highly motivated to aggressively pursue an entirely new and innovative programming strategy.
Deeply satisfied with the incredibly complex and highly sophisticated diagnostic server testing results. Take a second to pause if you need to.
All right, the answer is A. Remember the example we talked about, troubleshooting a crashing computer. Being at your wits' end means all your mental options are exhausted.
Exactly. Question 2. Because the highly exclusive corporate internship program was completely full, his father had to pull strings, meaning his father.
Deliberately submitted a highly fraudulent and completely fabricated professional academic recommendation letter immediately.
Aggressively demanded a completely immediate and entirely comprehensive federal legal investigation into it.
Secretly utilized his powerful personal connections and significant internal influence to secure it. Pause the audio if you want to think.
That one is C. Just like arranging that meeting with the hiring manager, to pull strings means using behind-the-scenes influence, like a puppeteer.
Spot on. Question 3. During the incredibly tense strategic planning meeting, the junior analyst unexpectedly decided to chime in, indicating she decided to
Abruptly leave the highly important corporate discussion without providing any formal prior notice.
suddenly join the ongoing conversation by offering her own specific, insightful comment or opinion.
Aggressively interrupt the senior executive board, completely violating established professional workplace etiquette protocols. Hit pause if you need a moment.
The correct answer is B. Unlike a rude interruption, to chime in is musical, like a bell. It's to harmoniously add a suggestion to move a project forward.
You got it. Okay, question 4. Recognizing that the recently hired manager was completely overwhelmed by the transition, the team decided to cut him some slack, deciding to
Completely terminate his incredibly demanding professional contract due to severe initial performance failures.
permanently transfer his highly complicated daily responsibilities to significantly more experienced senior staff.
Act notably more lenient and remarkably forgiving toward his entirely understandable early mistakes. Feel free to pause here.
And the answer is C. Just like lowering the tension on a heavy dock rope, to cut someone some slack means being lenient, making allowances for someone dealing with a personal issue or a tough transition.
Right. Question 5. Following the incredibly lavish corporate celebration dinner at the expensive downtown restaurant, the generous director offered to fit the bill, meaning she offered to
Personally, pay for the incredibly expensive meal and completely cover the total group cost.
meticulously review the highly complicated financial receipt for entirely unexpected or fraudulent supplementary charges.
Aggressively negotiate a significantly reduced final price with the incredibly demanding executive restaurant management. Pause if you need to think about this one.
The answer is A. When friends forget their wallets or after a big dinner, someone has to look at the painful total at the bottom of the document and foot the bill, meaning they take on the financial cost.
Almost done. Question 6. When the notoriously strict review committee unfairly criticized the young researcher's methodology, her supervisor immediately promised to go to bat for her, meaning he promised to
Aggressively demand a completely independent and highly rigorous academic investigation into her experimental practices.
actively support her professional credibility and vigorously defend her against the harsh board allegations.
Intentionally distance his own prestigious academic reputation from her completely controversial recent scientific findings. Go ahead and pause if you're deciding.
That's B. To go to bat is to actively defend a teammate. It's stepping out of the dugout and up to the plate to protect them from unfair treatment.
All right, final question. Question 7. Despite its incredibly aggressive marketing campaign, the newly released software application turned out to be completely run-of-the-mill, meaning it was
Entirely ordinary, completely average, and absolutely not special or notably innovative in any capacity.
remarkably unstable, highly prone to frequent crashing, and entirely unsuitable for standard corporate usage.
Incredibly dangerous, highly unpredictable, and absolutely a major security risk. Pause one last time if you need to.
And the final answer is A. Much like checking your daily morning emails or looking at fabric from a factory, if something is run-of-the-mill, it is completely average and ordinary.
Wow, congratulations on making it through that advanced vocabulary workout. That was a lot of material.
It really was. But before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with a final thought to kind of mull over.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, just notice how many of these advanced professional English idioms rely on deeply physical, real-world imagery.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, we talked about invisible strings, musical bells chiming, ropes with slack, baseball bats, and, old factory mills.
Yeah, it's all very tangible stuff.
Exactly. So my challenge to you is to consider this. What physical metaphors dominate the professional vocabulary of your own native language?
That is such a fascinating question. It really makes you realize how much of our modern abstract business talk is just built on, like, old physical actions. Well, keep practicing and exploring these concepts on your own, everyone. Try throwing one of these into your next meeting or English conversation. Thanks for joining us. Keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.